reminder, this past Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons have fallen to a meager 6-8. Across all sports, having a bad record isn't the worst thing. It guarantees a high draft pick that allows a team to perhaps take a player that can change the path of a franchise. And of course, having a good record means making the playoffs and having a chance to win a championship. The worst thing in sports is being average. The Falcons at 6-8 are technically still in the divisional race, but are, in all likelihood, eliminated from playoff contention. That means there is no shot at a championship, and there is also no shot at a high draft pick. And this can all be attributed to one horrible, no good, very bad man, Arthur Smith. Smith has, during his tenure in Atlanta, been the face of mediocrity, the spokesperson for average, some would say. 2023 was supposed to be the year things changed. A much improved defense, a new defensive coordinator who is a whiz, and 3 top 10 picks on offense being anchored by a mid-round QB who had some promise. Instead, this year has been nothing short of a dumpster fire. Arthur Smith has commanded one of the worst offenses in the league, despite the massive amount of talent on the offensive side of the ball. A top 5 O-line before injuries occurred, according to PFF, with a jump ball master at wide receiver, a unicorn at tight end, and a 1-2 punch at running back that should revolve around a dynamic young CMC-type player and a literal bowling ball coming in when Bijan gets tired. Instead, the offense insists on giving second-string tight end Jonnu Smith as many touches as the top receiving threats, and the top 10 running back pick from the last draft only has 10 more carries than the running backs picked 143 picks later than him just 1 year earlier. It doesn't stop there. It is easy for a fan to point out numbers and say that players aren't being utilized correctly, but it is harder to watch tape and find horrible play calls. Unless the play caller and head coach is Arthur Smith. This is a play from the 9-7 loss to the Panthers just this last Sunday. Now, let's get into the tape. I mean, what is going on? You have Tyler Algier blocking at fullback for Bijan Robinson. The Falcons pay Jonnu Smith to now block on the weak side of this play, and Keith Smith to sit on the bench for this? Also, this is a massive down. This could set the momentum and message for the entire game, and yet you run a halfback toss with no wrinkles. Look at the O-line. No one is pulling. This is a numbers game in which the Falcons lose 90 times out of 100. Then later in the game, you have this impactful play. In the red zone, you run a play-action rollout. Cool, that's pretty standard. Until you get to this moment. Why are all 3 wide receivers on top of each other? And I know London looks open, but even if Desmond Ridder throws a dime, it's not getting completed. And Desmond Ridder certainly did not throw a dime. While this video is about a coaching change, Ridder certainly cannot start for this team next season. He stood out in college for his decision-making, short accuracy, leadership, and poise, all of which have gone out the window. To wrap this whole rant up with a bow, the Falcons need massive change. Rumors are swirling that Arthur Smith will remain the Falcons head coach for 2024, unless the Falcons blow up at the end of the season. My question would be, is losing to the 1-12 Panthers not a massive fall-off? Arthur Smith needs to be fired. All Falcons fans can agree on that. The next part is where it gets tricky. I am a fan of promoting Ryan Nielsen to head coach. He has completely revitalized this defense into a top 10 group, something that the Falcons have not had in at least 6 years. If we do not promote Nielsen, someone will poach him and make them their head coach. I would have Nielsen keep the play calling duties and have him and Fontenot hire a DC under him that he trusts. I would even look at Dennis Allen, the Saints head coach, because I personally feel like his seat is hot, and he and Nielsen and Fontenot have connections that run deep. Then you have to hire an offensive coordinator. I would look towards Brian Griese and Gerard Johnson, quarterback coaches for the 49ers and Texans. They have turned young quarterbacks into studs, and the Falcons can certainly use that treatment. As for more known commodities, Deuce Staley of the Panthers has been a running back and run game whiz. And Joe Brady is in line for the Bills' offensive coordinator spot, but could be lured away. My choice would be Staley, but time will tell if we even ever get to this point of hiring an offensive coordinator. As for the quarterback spot, it's difficult. I personally want to keep Ridder, but not as a starter. I know it doesn't really make sense to keep him as a backup because of his trade value and more, but I would like to see him learn under a new regime. No matter what, I think a new head coach and hopefully offensive coordinator should come together with Fontenot to choose their new QB. Whether it's a trade or a draft pick, a new regime needs a new QB, and these people need to come together and make the correct decision. Personally, I would look towards Penix in the draft, and then cutting Heineke and signing someone like Minshew. Minshew has proven he is a starter, and I desperately want him, as I showed by my offseason predictions in the summer. However, it is impossible to know what will happen until a new regime is settled upon. The Falcons are my team. They are a lot of Atlanta's team. They constantly cause pain and despair, though, an effect I call falconing. But they are so close to success, and the canning of one man and the installation of a new regime and QB could bring this team to Super Bowl contention. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. This has been Peach State Sports.